When dawn rose, the lion's first whisper stirred the winds of destiny.
Lira felt the ancient breath of prophecy brushing her soul.
Eldarth sensed the lion's message arriving before the words formed.
Whispers of old calamities returned to echo again.
From the east came the first spirit, weary from unseen battles.
The lion felt the fracture widening across the horizon.
Even the north wind, once unshakable, faltered under a creeping shadow.
The west wind flickered.
From the subtle winds came Aeritha, bearer of melodies forgotten. Her melody carried warnings only a celestial lion could hear.
The winds carried riddles of a darkness too faint for mortals to sense.
Lyra's heart opened to the language of subtle breezes. The wind spirits clung to each other as their strength unraveled.
Balance between heat and frost slipped through their grasp.
In his mane, she found whispers older than the sky itself.
Prophecy etched itself across the stones, guided by the lion's breath.
Her voice soothed the fading strength of the west.
They spoke of a silent predator devouring currents of life. The north wind's strength dwindled as void touched the western breeze. Aureon saw the first mark of corruption tearing the east apart.
Every note she learned became a path toward destiny.
Storms no longer obeyed their keeper's will. Even the unyielding north shivered at what approached.
The winds, Aureon. They're collapsing.
A mortal became the vessel of a fading breeze.
Her tune awakened ancient truths sealed for centuries.
His voice entered her heart like thunder soothed by grace.
Her melody bridged the gap between breaking winds.
Unity failed. And then, the lion sensed the watcher cloaked in nothingness.
Her voice became one with the unseen currents of the world.
The lion's mane shimmered as the winds bent to his will.
Knowledge long lost began to reveal itself to those who listened.
Even fractured, the winds sought unity against the rising shadow.
Her song melted the frost that bound his spirit.
The lion's power flowed into the faltering east wind. A mortal heart began to bear the weight of immortal winds.
Ancient rites whispered life back into the faltering wind.
Through melody, Lira learned to speak the language of air.
The darkness lingered, watching the lion's every step.
Allied by purpose, the winds began to heal each other.
Even in weakness, cooperation birthed power.
Her song merged with the mortal spirit to awaken the currents.
Knowledge and power united to mend what was broken. Even opposing forces can harmonize against shadow.
The northern and western winds joined in silent resolve. Her mortal voice carried the immortal breath of the lion. Through unity, the lion mended what the shadow sought to break.
Harmony returned to the battered southern-western currents.
The mortal voice became one with the celestial lion.
The shadow recoiled, yet its darkness lingered in wait.
A song of healing spread across all currents, binding the winds anew.
Even the ancient sage recognized the lion's triumph and the mortal heart that guided it.
Farewell, Zephyrian.
The eastern spirit whispered blessings before drifting to distant currents.
Even opposing winds found accord in the lion's presence.
The west wind is sorrow faded in.
The lion's first whisper had awakened more than winds. It had awakened destiny.
Harmony returned as each spirit took its place in the sky.
The mortal heart and the northern spirit joined in unity. The southern and western winds hummed in harmony, completing the sky's restoration. The first whisper was only the beginning of the lion's eternal vigil.
The lion's guidance flowed into her spirit, teaching the way of the winds.
The northern winds, once scattered, felt the pulse of harmony returning.
Even weakened, their unity began to mend the torn currents.
Through song, the mortal heart touched.
The lion's power healed the east wind's trembling essence. The mortal became the vessel of a spirit, once fading. Ancient knowledge restored life to a weakening current.
Her voice merged with celestial breath, awakening the currents anew.
Knowledge and strength combined to mend the broken harmony.
Opposing winds found accord against the creeping shadow. North and west joined silently to restore what was broken.
Through unity, the lion restored fractured winds.
Harmony returned to the weakened currents under her song.
Mortality and divinity merged, awakening the sky itself.
The shadow withdrew, biding its time beyond sight.
Even the ancient sage recognized the lion's triumph and the mortal heart guiding it.
Eastern spirit whispered blessings before drifting to distant currents.
Farewell, Zephyrian.
Opposing winds found accord in the lion's presence.
The west wind's sorrow faded.
The first whisper had awakened not only winds, but destiny itself.
Harmony returned, yet the shadow lingered, awaiting the next whisper.
The first whisper was only the beginning of the lion's eternal vigil.
The shadow withdrew for now, but the winds would never forget its presence.
Her song carried across lands, stitching the currents together.
The east wind regained its strength, tempered by the lion's wisdom.
Once fractured, their harmony now flowed freely again.
Her melody restored serenity to the
The mortal heart and celestial lion became one with the sky.
Ancient wisdom bore witness to the new harmony of the world.
Their flowing unity sealed the restoration of the northern and eastern winds. Harmony prevailed where chaos had once reigned. Through unity, the lion's whisper restored the fractured skies. The south and west winds sang together, free from corruption. Mortality and divinity converged, awakening the skies fully.
The shadow lingered beyond sight, awaiting the next whisper of destiny.
A song of healing spread across all winds, binding them anew.
Even the oldest sage recognized the lion's triumph and mortal courage.
The east wind whispered blessings before drifting to distant currents. Even opposing winds found accord in the lion's presence.
The west wind's sorrow faded into harmony once more.
The first whisper had awakened not only winds, but destiny itself. Harmony returned, but the shadow lingered, awaiting the next whisper.
The first whisper was only the beginning of the lion's eternal vigil.
The shadow withdrew, but the winds would never forget its presence.